Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. I am the founder and the spiritual director. Now, as you are sitting there joining us, you may have questions, any number of questions, such as, who am I? How did I get here? Spiritually integrated arts means what exactly? What is a teaching center? Well, what is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is that? What does that even mean? Or New Thought, or religious science, or science of mind and spirit? You may have any number of questions about this specific community, about the parent organization, CSL, our philosophy, our teaching, our liberation theology. Any number of questions. Feel free to send an email. We look forward to connecting more and building our virtual community, our global community. And if you haven't connected yet on social media, feel free to do so. This is your invitation now. Also, did you know that all of our Sunday messages are archived on our YouTube channel? You can watch it anytime. Now, questions about anything, such as becoming a member. What does that mean? What does membership entail? And if you live somewhere far and already belong to a spiritual community, can you be a member of more than one? The simple answer is yes, you can. Just like you can shop at more than one grocery store, you can attend or be a member of more than one gym. We are building beloved community. So you can do both. You can be a member of both. You can be involved with both. That's what being in spiritual community means. So we welcome you. We invite you. We are so appreciative that you have found this community and that you have joined us today. We bless you. We love you. We welcome you. Live long and prosper. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of our Sunday message. Love you. Connect with you soon. Blessings. Stay and greetings. It's getting closer to the end of the year. We're already at that halfway point of November. And so today we continue our conversation about this idea of life-affirming abundance. And today we are talking about loaves and fishes. Now, if you don't know where that reference comes from, it's a biblical reference of how Jesus fed the multitudes. So, during this season of harvest, this season of gathering unto us what we have planted, quote unquote, this season of this opportunity and invitation by the holy day, the holiday of Thanksgiving, we have this opportunity, this invitation to explore what it means to not have faith in God, but to have the faith of God. And in having the faith of God, we get to move beyond the sense of the belief in certain aspects of lack, limitation, and scarcity. Because yes, there are the factual things regarding, right? There's a limitation to my insides and outsides. There's a boundary called skin. There's a specific limitation to what the organs do and don't do. So we understand that there are certain elements of lack, limitation, and scarcity that are factual. But in terms of the absolute and in terms of the truth of and about ourselves, we get to move beyond that belief, that consciousness. And in so doing, what we are therefore doing is realizing and recognizing the plenitude of the universe, the plenitude of the divine. And that plenitude is the truth about us. So, as I mentioned, there's the example, the title, Jesus feeding the multitudes with only 5 loaves and 2 fishes, 1 burger, and 3 French fries. And Jesus fed the multitudes from this. But how? How is this possible? Now, whether we look at this as a historical event, a factual event, a metaphysical or metaphorical or allegorical demonstration, really doesn't matter. Because even in a fable, there is truth. Even in a work of fiction, there is truth. So, for example, Star Wars. Is that a documentary? No. But we understand that when Yoda spoke to Luke and said, "Judge me by my size, do you? As well you should not. For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is." In those few tiny phrases, there is a profound truth. So let us not be swayed into believing that, well, just because the story of Jesus is made up or fictional, as some would say, doesn't matter in the least. The fact of the matter is, there is truth in that. This symbolic individual will, for the sake of conversation, this individual represents the embodiment of God as source, God as supply. And that this thing we call God, the source, the universe, is ever providing itself, ever giving of itself, for itself, to itself, always. So what does that mean for us? Well, it means our invitation is to restore or begin to develop an innocent, life-affirming faith, a childlike, life-affirming faith. And we're going to talk about exactly what I mean by that, as well as a deep thankfulness and thanksgiving. We can have a grand rising, knowing miracles, we're going to talk about that, truly happen in our lives, and we can celebrate with abundance. Celebrate as abundance. Breathe. So let's dive into several of these concepts more in depth. But let us begin first with a clarification point. Unless I otherwise state it, anytime that I just say faith, abundance, supply, embodiment, anytime I just say those words, unless I say otherwise, I am always referring to life affirming expressions and life affirming experiences of those words. Okay? And let us begin. So, God as source and supply is ever giving and ever providing. We gather that, right? Well, we understand that. Well, actually, let's go back for a second because we might not. What I want to point out is it is easy to anthropomorphize this idea of giving and providing. That there is an infinite universe that is giving to us, and we simply need to accept or receive. It's not that. This idea of giving and providing is the same as the sun, how it gives and provides light and warmth. It's the same way that a field of flowers provides color, aroma, the scent of lilies, the scent of daisies. It gives, but it's not saying, here, let me let off a little bit of aroma. It's simply doing what it does. By being itself, the sun offers. By being itself, the sky offers, the seas offer, because they are already what it means to be as. The sun does not need to try to be the sun. Roses don't need to try to be roses. They simply are. And yet, when it comes to us, we are trying to be enlightened and trying to increase our faith and trying to become more aware and working at increasing the power of our chakras or kundalini. We make it work rather than simply surrender to what already is as the truth of our being, and realize that that which is giving because of what it already is. And our invitation is to recognize that there is nothing we need to do to bargain, beg, beseech, plead, cry out to the universe. Please give me, please provide for me, please do this for me. Doesn't work that way. So breathe and realize that this idea is an idea of stepping in, as I mentioned before, this space of childlike faith, this space of innocence where we believed that bubbles were magic, this space where anything and everything was possible, that the imaginary friend was in fact a friend, imaginary or not, it was a friend, where we believe we can be a drummer and president and lawyer and artist and mom and dad and whatever, astronaut. We can be all of it. We believe in the infinite possibilities. We haven't bought into the lies of, well, you can't do that. You're the wrong color. You can't do that. You're the wrong gender. You can't do that. You were born on the wrong side of the railroad tracks. You can't do that. You weren't born in this country. You can't do that. You were born on that side of the border. You can't do that. You're not Christian. You can't do. We didn't buy into any of that stuff. We believed in the infinite possibilities. We were believing as God. We knew that Santa Claus was real. We knew that the Tooth Fairy was. To such a degree did we believe and know this that we behaved in a different manner. We believed that blowing the seeds was magic and that it carried our wishes and hopes, which is why we did it. We let our belief, our knowing, inform our doing. So when we say childlike faith, we are saying the faith, the belief, the knowingness that what God is, we are, and that power, that presence, that infinite potentiality itself is who and what we are. And when we do that, then we realize that this thing we refer to as like Jesus feeding the multitudes with loaves and fishes and fed 5,000, 10,000, 15, 25,000, 30, 45,000 going on. Oh, Jesus feeding the multitudes, we called it a miracle. It's one of the many miracles that the Bible indicates. But what makes it a miracle? Now, normally when we reference miracles, we're talking about something that is seen as wonderful, something we hold in high esteem, something that is so marvelous and amazing to us. It is a wonderful work. In fact, in American Sign Language, the sign for miracle is literally wonderful work, a work of wonder. But note, in the etymology of miracle, to smile and to laugh. Miracle. So when we talk about this, we're not talking about some work of magic that only a few people can do this because it is a miracle is who you are. You in and of yourself and how you live, move, and have your beingness in life is miraculous. It is an object of wonder, something to be in awe of, something to regard in high esteem, something that inspires a smile on our face, something that inspires us and moves us to laughter. That is a miracle. So having childlike faith, the faith not in God, but the faith of God, faith as God, changes the entire way that we now look at what we do, how we show up. Because then that means you making a grilled cheese sandwich is a miracle. Popping popcorn, miracle. Sitting down to watch a good movie or binge watch a television series, miracle. But why? What? Those are regular everyday things. Ah, there you go. There you go. Regular everyday things. So the miracle is not this thing to put on a pedestal as la 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 la. Miracle is your life. The healing process, your life. The being present to depression or grief, your life. Giving a hug or a fist bump, or in Tracy's case, an elbow tap, your life. Eating a bowl of fruit salad, your life. Walking through the park and feeling a breeze and smiling at the dogs playing in the dog park, your life. All of this is a miracle. All of this is something that inspires a sense of wonder and awe. A smile, laughter. All of it is a miracle. All of it. Breathe. Dr. Holmes says, when we learn to trust the universe, we shall be happy, prosperous, and well. We must learn to come under that divine government and accept the fact that nature's table is ever filled. Never was there a cosmic famine. When we learn to trust the universe, then it means we're trusting ourselves. And in so doing, we find that space of happiness, prosperity, and wellness. We must learn to come under that divine government of divine stewardship and divine authority that gives us the ability to live, move, and have our beingness in alignment with principle and spiritual law. And in that space of awareness and consciousness, we realize that because there is and has never been a cosmic famine, then we have the power to make sure that there is no earthly, physical famine. We can feed the multitudes. We can house the multitudes. We can nurture and love the multitudes. But do we have trust? Do we embody trust? So, in general, if I were to ask you, what does it mean to trust? Ask yourself, who do I trust? Why do I trust? And when do I trust? And you could ask the opposite, who do I not trust? Why do I not trust? When do I not trust? What does it mean to trust the universe? How do you know if you are trusting the universe versus convincing yourself that you are? Breathe. And in general, what does it mean to lack trust, to mistrust, or distrust? Just in general. Now, what does it mean to lack trust in the universe? Do you trust yourself? Now, as I just said in that previous slide, there is the idea or the concept of mistrust and distrust. Do you mistrust the universe? Distrust the universe? What about yourself? What's the difference between these two? Mistrust, a lack of faith based on discomfort or intuition. Distrust, lack of faith based on knowledge or experience. Breathe that in for a moment. Someone betrays you. They stole from you. They stop speaking to you. You have the knowledge, you have the experience, you have the lived evidentiary experience. So you distrust people, you distrust them, etc. Someone told you something and you believe it's a lie. I believe that they're not being honest. I don't have proof. I just have the uncomfortable feeling. I sense the red flag. My intuition is going, danger, Will Robinson. Then you mistrust them and what they said. Do you mistrust the universe? Do you distrust the universe or yourself? Breathe. And if so, why so? Why do you miss or distrust trust the universe, miss or distrust yourself. Dr. Holmes says the spirit is the source of supply, and the source of all substance is forever taking form. Our supply is never limited to any particular channel. All possibilities of the infinite, all the possibilities of the infinite being, normally I would have capitalized infinite, but so it threw me for a second. All the possibilities of the infinite being exist for us right now. There never can be any less. There never will be any more. Because there can never be less of God or more of God. Simply is God. So taking that into account, let's remix a bit. Spirit is the source of supply because it is the source of what we call supply. It is infinite substance forever taking form, forever manifesting. Our supply in the absolute is never limited to any particular channel, and all the possibilities of the infinite being exist for us right now. And our challenge and invitation is to shift, heal, evolve, transform the systems and the conditions that show up in people's lives as the very opposite of supply. How do we ensure that all people's needs are met? Because if we are not ensuring that, if we are not living from that, and we are, I got mine, you get yours, what's in your consciousness, then one, that is not Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0, and that is spiritual immaturity, spiritual irresponsibility, and depending on how it's being expressed, spiritual terrorism, spiritual trauma. So, if we are going to take this in and have childlike faith as God, then we realize that there is possibility to create a world that works for all. And in the world that works for all of the people are fed unless they choose not to eat. All of the people are safe. That means we have to change the systems that create food deserts. We have to change the systems and legislation that enable anybody anywhere to be able to get a gun with such ease. We have to change the systems so that this truth is readily available to all. Breathe. So if I were to ask you, how do any of these things come into being? How is porcelain or pottery created? Where does it come from? Food that you eat for a meal, where does it come from? All of the characters and stories in Marvel, where did they come from? Jewelry of any kind, where does it come from? Why does it look the way that it looks? We often ask, referencing the brain, where does whatever emotions, where in the brain do emotions come from? Where does logic come from? All this stuff. And normally, under a lot of circumstances, we would say, well, the pottery comes from the potter, the food comes from the chef, or even it comes from a garden, or the artist, they're the ones that created the characters and the stories. And yet, the jeweler, and yet, yes. And yet, even before that, there is the space that is beyond the space of infinite mystery, where all of these things come from. the seed that becomes wheat, that becomes bread or anything, pasta, whatever. There is the space of it where the infinite mystery exists that makes it become what it is. There is the space of infinite possibilities before the jeweler crafts the design that becomes the necklace. And this idea of having the faith of God is being in the energy and the realm of beyond the beyond more and more and more as our default daily setting. Because if we think our only channel of, what did the previous thing say? The absolute is never limited to any particular channel. So if we think the artist is the only channel, the person is the channel, then we are limiting ourselves to all of the other ways that anything about life can show up. Someone recently shared on social media asking a question: minister, is it a noun? Is it a verb? Minister. And I responded to the Facebook post and said, minister as noun or verb. Well, it's both and, because one, a minister is someone who, noun, who ministers, verb. So is it a verb or a noun? It's a noun that verbs. And in the space of beyond the beyond, we realize that minister is even beyond that title, to where a nurse can minister to another patient or to another nurse or minister to a doctor. To administer, someone in administration, they are ministering. Now, they may not be thinking of it related to the etymology of that word, but nonetheless, it's what they're doing. So, how are you invited to step in the space of the mystery, the space of the infinite, the invisible mystery, that space where all things, there is only one mind, and that mind is God, and that mind is your mind right now. That infinite space of being present to it and present as it then avails us the opportunity to heal self and others, to transform self and others. Breathe. Dr. Holmes says the power that Jesus manifested was divine. It was not the will of an individual, but his willingness to believe that God gave him power. It was not a concentration of spiritual forces that Jesus exercised, but rather a childlike and implicit faith in the reality of the Spirit in human affairs. How does that land with you? What does that feel like? What does it sound like? Now, there are a couple of things in there, but gave him power. Yeah. That's why we're going to remix it. The power that Yeshua embodied was that of the divine. It was his realization that his will and God's will were the same, and that his willingness to act upon the truth of this awareness that gave him the power that we point to and call miracles. He did not practice a concentration of spiritual forces, but rather a childlike faith that was both implicit and explicit, and as such, it demonstrated the reality of the Spirit expressing in human affairs. What he embodied was, once again, whether factual or fiction. He serves as a symbolic representation, just like Luke Skywalker, Clark Kent, Peter Parker. It is the embodiment of. And when we embody, what we are doing is recognizing that what it is not, it's no longer outside of us. It is us. To embody is to be a living, moving, breathing representation of. A bodhisattva is the embodiment of enlightenment and healing and compassion. They're not pulling it from somewhere. They're not renting it from somewhere. They're not borrowing it from somewhere. They are being it. So if we want to transform our lives, heal our lives, have the divine showing up in demonstrable ways in our human affairs, whatever that means, then we must embody. We must be a living, moving, breathing beingness of the divine. The faith of, not simply the faith in. To embody, to be a living expression of, to be a tangible representation, a tangible and visible form of, to express, to be the expression of. So how do you live your life and make God a visible expression? Without even needing to say, yes, I'm a licensed practitioner of religious science. I am an ordained minister of religious science. I attend a center for spiritual living, or without needing to say it, how do you show up as it? I study the science of mind and spirit. How do you show up as it without needing to say it? How do you embody the divine and express it in your regular, everyday, miraculous life? How is the divine personified as you, incarnated as you, manifested and expressed as you? How do you set the example and model what it means to be the divine in human form? Breathe. Wayne Dyer says abundance is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into. Now, we could say any variety of words instead of abundance. Health is not something we acquire. Love is not something we acquire. Liberation is not something we acquire. It is something we tune into, which means it is already existing. And we put ourselves in a resonant frequency through whatever it is, whatever our spiritual practice, we get in alignment with what already is the truth. So we become both a receiving station and a broadcasting station. Now, where are we receiving from? The infinite and absolute, which is right where you are. Where do you receive your inner dialogue? Where is it coming from? When you close your mouth and think in your mind, what is your name? Where is that coming from? Now, you probably heard it in your own voice. Where are you receiving your dreams from, your inspiration from? Between me and God, there is no between. So we are receiving it from the very truth of our being, not receiving it from some heaven out there. We believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. That is our declaration of principle. That is what we believe. We say we believe that. Do we live like we believe that? Are we modeling that we believe that? So, yes, we are receiving it from the truth of who and what we are, and we are broadcasting it from the truth of who and what we are. So when Matthew 7:7 says, ask and it shall be given you, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. What is this really saying to us? Because if I'm asking, who am I asking? If I'm seeking, where, oh, where shall I find the divine? Oh, where is it at? I've looked and looked at mountain tops and what? So when you ask for what you want and what you need, by your communication, by all of your mental equivalents, your thoughts, your communication, your emotions, your feelings, your actions, your behavior, you increase the potentiality that whatever that is you are asking for, whatever that is you need, you are increasing the potentiality that it will manifest. And when you seek what you want and need rather than sitting by waiting, you increase the possibilities that you will experience what you desire and what you deserve. The possibility becomes a probability. And that then becomes an inevitability. So think of it this way. What are you asking? How are you asking? You are asking in terms of what you are thinking and believing, what you are communicating and saying, what you are feeling and emoting, and what you are doing. That is the asking. How you show up is asking because it is communicating something. So if you need more emotional support, how are you asking for what you desire? When you're at a restaurant, you ask for what you want. Excuse me, can I have the check? And we say it politely, can I? As if the server is going to say, no, you cannot have the check. Not until Wednesday. I got to wait 4 days for the check. So what am I supposed to leave and come back? No, you must sit here for 4 days. So we ask. You go to a building and you're not sure what suite you're supposed to go to. You go to the information desk. Excuse me, could you tell me how do I get to Wing F, Suite 109? We ask. So what do you want? A world that works for all. Have you asked for it in your mental equivalence? Have you sought it from that space of deep truth within you? What is it that you want? Are you clear on what it is that you desire? Are you clear on your ability to make choices based upon what you desire, what you are seeking, what you are asking for? Every moment of our lives is a moment of choice point. Do I get up at 7 or hit the snooze bar and do 7:05? Do I wear dark jeans or light jeans today? Which superhero t-shirt will I wear? Which top will I wear when I deliver my Sunday message? Which slacks will I wear? The ones that match the black or the ones that match the gold? Choices. Do I say hello to the neighbor or do I duck and avoid? Choices. Do I choose to be vulnerable or do I choose to keep the wall, the moat, the drawbridge, the barbed wire, the crocodiles? Do I choose to keep them so that people leave me alone, so that they can't get close? Choice. We're always at choice point. So we can either wait for an anthropomorphic God, we can wait and cross our fingers and hope and wish. When you wish for God to, we can wish and please, 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 hope, hope, hope. Or we can be a consciously living embodiment of the magic, magnificence, and miraculosity of the divine, which we already are. But we can choose to consciously live it, consciously embody it, consciously model it, or continue to look for and seek outside of us. Between God and me, there is no between. And if God seems far away, who moved? Let that sink in. If God seems far away, who did the moving? Between God and me, there is no between. If God seems far away, who moved? When we realize that there is no between, that there is no moving away from God, we realize that what it is, we are. If God, if love, if peace, if abundance seem far away, engage in your spiritual practices in order to realize, in order to embody, and in order to actualize the truth about you, the truth about your life, the truth about God. There is nowhere for you to move in order to be closer to it, to embody it. There is no mountain that you must ascend. The invitation is to reorient ourselves, reorient yourself, reorient your mental equivalents, and then you will be able to declare, as Yeshua did, I and the infinite are one. The science of mind and spirit as a liberation theology offers us a way to provide for ourselves individually and collectively, precisely because we understand that God is right where each of us is. When we tune into the desired frequency of the universal presence, which is God itself, we increase the possibilities of manifesting, co-creating, attracting, whatever words you use, whatever it is that we desire to experience. Like an artist who must align with their craft in order to create the work of art, right? A violinist doesn't sit down at a piano to play the violin. Align with our craft in order to create the work of art. We make use of all that we are as the divine divinity, being itself as us. Science of mind and spirit is both the study of and the practical embodiment of what God is. This study and embodiment is what we use to guarantee equity, justice, compassion, food security, safety, love, peace, and more as our experiences in a world that works for all. This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first, and if this resonates with you, you are invited to speak it aloud with me on the second go around. God, as the source of all, must be my abundant source and supply. Together, God, as the source of all, must be my abundant source and supply. And so it is. This week's journal questions or Thursday night study group questions. What does walking by faith, not by sight mean to me? It's asking yourself these. What is another way of saying this where sightedness, ableism, is not used? What is an example of when I acted from non-life affirming faith? where I squashed the childlike faith? When was there a time that I acted on faith and intuition and reaped the bounty? And remember what I said earlier at the preface, if I don't specify. So, when was the time that I acted on life affirming faith and intuition and therefore reaped the bounty? And what does childlike faith mean to me? Number 4, what are 2 or 3 examples of the fishes and loaves that I can offer to feed the multitudes? Where from your miraculous storehouse of infinite power and possibility do you have the means to do this? Number 5, have I ever experienced what is often referred to as a miracle? What was it? How did it occur? How did it happen? What would it mean to expand my awareness of miracle, just in general, the concept miracle, to be more aligned with the etymology of miracle? Meaning, instead of miracle being this magical, mystical, once in a lifetime, only reserved for a few specific saints and gurus, where can I expand my understanding and awareness of it to realize that washing the dishes is a miracle? Putting jumper cables on the car to reignite, reawaken the battery is a miracle. Having the opportunity to pick on Tracy and get that look is a miracle. And number 6, as the artist of my own life, within the studio and the gallery of life, what do I tend to create? How do I go about creating? How can I connect and collaborate more effectively with other artists to create and to co-create a world that works for all? And breathe as we enter into that space of infinite awareness, infinite truth, knowing that all that it is, all that God is showing itself, is representing, representing itself as each and every person gathered here, wherever today is for them, whether it is live Sunday morning or a Wednesday evening, whenever it is that this is being viewed, that which God is representing itself in, through, and as the very person watching. The phone or the laptop or the PC that they are watching from, the chair or the bench that they are sitting on or bed they are laying in while watching, the electricity that is charged in the battery or through the cord that connects to the wall in the house, and the all of it is a representation of the divine showing itself as electricity, as the bed, the chair, the device, all of it. All of it. And in that space, then that means that clearly, if that which God is showing itself in, through, and as me, then I am a maker of miracles. I create them. I am not just the dreamer of dreams, but I am the maker of miracles. That I have right now within my scope and capabilities, I have right now the possibility of the skill set that feeds the multitudes. Right now, I have whatever is needed to change, transform, help, nurture, heal myself and others. And that which is true of me is true for everyone watching. And so we breathe and recognize that that breath is not any of us breathing ourselves. It is the divine, it is the source, it is the infinite, all that is, breathing itself as us. There is only that which it is. And as Dr. Holmes said, the only God that any of us would truly know is the one that we embody. So as we breathe, we realize that we are, that we have, that it has us, this faith of God, the power of God, the faith that is God, and the power that is God. Just as there is only one life, and that life is God, there is only one true power, and that power is God. Love is God. Hope and joy and laughter is God. And what it is each of us. When we laugh, God laughs. When we hug, God is both the hugger and the hugged. So we breathe and allow that which is the truth, the whole truth, and only that which is true to be the very embodiment of all that we do and all that we are, so that we are ever in the space of making miracles manifested individually and collectively. That's how we create a world that works for all. That's how we are creating a world that works for all. That's how we have created, as we remember tomorrow, that is already how we have created a world that works for all. The law says yes. That means it's already done. That means it's already manifested, fully formed, and fully functional in the mind that is God. And that mind is your mind now, my mind now, our mind now. There is only that mind. And it is already existing as answered prayer. It is already done. So we embody it, we model it, we express it. Our life is our amen. And so it is. And so it is. Much love and appreciation. As you already know, check the chat to see if we are meeting for our after message fellowship today. If so, see you there. If not, blessings on whatever you are doing for the remainder of your day and your week. Be blessed, be joyful, smile, laugh, and be the miracle that you are.